This is Tanya with Armchair Sniffer. Just wanted to come on here and do a quick video about the 10 most complimented fragrances that I have in my collection. And I'm going to do this in chronological order. The first one that I have is from Dior, Hypnotic Poison. And hopefully you can see this bottle. I've had this one for probably about 10 or 12 years, but originally I got my very first bottle of this perfume back in '98 when this fragrance did come out. It is a beautiful cherry almond fragrance that lasts for ages on your skin. I remember getting a lot of compliments on this one, and for me it dries down into like a boozy cherry amaretto, and I love it, especially during the fall and during the winter. This is just a beautiful fragrance, and it lasts a good 6 to 8 hours on my skin. Oh yeah, I really like that. It is one of my favorite of the cherry amaretto type fragrances, and that's Hypnotic Poison by Dior. The next one in my collection that I still do a lot of compliments on is from Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab, and this is snake oil, and hopefully you can see that. It is a small 5 milliliter perfume oil, and this one is an old one. It's from like 2006. I adore it. It is basically baby powder and musk, and what I get is vanilla, some sort of spicy note, I'm not sure what it is, and either black musk or red musk. This, I've had people chase me down the street or down a store aisle asking me what I'm wearing. This stuff is potent. It lasts a good 12 to 14 hours. And in fact, sometimes even after you've washed and dried your clothes, hints of this will still waft up. I know in the past I wore this off and on for years, and sometimes whenever I would iron my clothes, the steam would rise up and I would still get little traces of snake oil. I mean, this stuff lasts and lasts and lasts. I think you can get a 5 milliliter bottle of this at Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab for around $19.75, so under $20, and it's worth it because this oil, it just gets richer and more potent as it ages. I mean, this bottle right here is easily 17 years old, and it's a beast. I love it. I love it very, very much. The next one that I acquired that is a complimented perfume is from also Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab. It's from their American God collection, and it's called Bilquis. And this was named after, I think, a Middle Eastern ancient goddess for love and basically carnal pleasure. This is a beautiful, beautiful almond fragrance. Another heavy hitter. This one is probably about a 10-year-old bottle. It is just a buttery almond fragrance, and for whatever reason, when it touches my skin after about, I would say maybe about the 5th hour, for whatever reason, it dries down to the consistency of crushed marigold blossoms. I mean, that's the only way I can put it. It's intoxicating. It's unusual. You won't smell like anybody else. And I love it because you can wear this, and it's another one just like snake oil. You wash, and if it gets on your clothes, it's there. It is there for a while. And that is Bilquis from Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab. This one I think is a little bit more than snake oil since it's a special collection creation. I want to say it's around $29 or $32, but it is worth it. Even though it looks like a tiny, tiny bottle, it will last you for a long time. The next one in my collection that I get a lot of compliments on, and one that I'm always going to have, is Samsara by Guerlain. And this is an older formula. This is an older formulation. I want to say from the 20 teens, maybe. It's a tester that I got off of eBay because I wanted to find an older version of Samsara that had a rich sandalwood note. And this one does not disappoint. This is hands down a beautiful fragrance. It opens up with bergamot and jasmine and ylang ylang and dries down into like a cozy layer of sandalwood. And it is, I will admit, this is my go-to evening scent, where I will spray this on myself and on my bedding, just because it's such a comforting fragrance. And I have newer formulas of this, but I just adore this red bottle, this red glass bottle. It's so peaceful. It reminds me of my little cat Celeste. She passed away years ago, but she was a cuddler. And so she would crawl underneath the covers with my husband and I. And so every once in a while, whenever I would pick her up, I would get wafts of Samsara mixed in with her fur. And it's so comforting to smell, because I think of my little Celeste when I smell Samsara now. The next one in my collection that I get the most compliments on, I think I got this in 2015, 2016. This is Terry Mugler's Alien Eau Extraordinaire, and I put a hefty dent in it. It is basically a flanker of the original Alien that is known for its jasmine. This one is an interpretation of jasmine tea. And this is bright and fresh and perfect during the high heat of summer. And I get a lot of compliments on this. This is kind of like my go-to summer fragrance. That way I know I'm not overbearing, but at least I smell nice. And I really enjoy it because jasmine tea is probably one of my favorite drinks. When I'm working at my desk, I usually have like big mugs of Dragon Jasmine Pearl Tea on hand throughout the day. And this is just my favorite drink right here in a bottle. And I love it. It's so nice. The next one in my collection that I get a lot of compliments on is another Guerlain, and it is the EDT version of La Petite Robe Noire. And it is the one with the strapless black dress. This is just another crowd pleaser that I know I can wear just about anywhere and not offend anybody. And also I feel comfortable and confident in this little scent bubble. This opens up with a bright burst of bergamot, and it's quite zesty and sparkling. And then it dries down into the cherry note, and also the black tea that is known for La Petite Robe Noire. And this lasts probably a good 4 or 5 hours, but I love it. And the best way I can describe it is it's quite a linear fragrance, and it reminds me almost of like a cherry lemonade. It's nice, quite refreshing, and honestly, I like to layer this with Jergens body lotion, the original, the cherry almond scented one. They layer together beautifully. And that is Guerlain's La Petite Robe Noire EDT. The next one, and this is by far probably my signature fragrance for the last 5 years, and I've probably gone through 3 bottles of this, and it is Mon Guerlain EDT. And they no longer make this variation. They just do the EDP and some other formulations and flankers. This one is just a gorgeous opening of mandarin and bergamot, and it dries down to lavender, vanilla, and tonka bean. And I get a ton of compliments from this fragrance right here. It is my go-to fragrance for when I need a little boost of confidence, or if I'm going to be in a setting where I don't know how people will, be, if they are offended by fragrance or not. And I know that this one is just a nice crowd-pleasing fragrance. Initially, the juice was like a bright pink color. Now the vanilla has kind of aged this bottle to where it's more of a rose gold, almost peach color. And fortunately, I have probably about 20 backup bottles of this because I don't want to run out of this fragrance. I love it so much, and so I'm going to always have at least one bottle of Mon Guerlain EDT in my collection. If I had to pick one fragrance, it would have to be this one to stick with for the rest of my life. I mean, there's no doubt. This is the one. The next one in my collection that I get a lot of compliments on is a celebrity fragrance, and it's called Sofia by Sofia Vergara. And I had read years ago online that it was very similar to Chanel's Coco Mademoiselle, and I could see that. I bought this for, I think, maybe $22 off of eBay years ago. And you can still get it reasonably priced. It does have some leanings towards Coco Mademoiselle, but it's its own creation and it's beautiful. I want to say that it is a beautiful floral with a hefty raspberry note. And I often will layer this with Bath & Body Works Fairy Tale, which is probably one of my favorite scent creations from Bath & Body Works. It's good. It smells like it's more than a $22 bottle of perfume. It lasts a good 4 to 6 hours, and you can overspray this and not feel guilty, not in the least. The next one in my collection is one that I get a lot of compliments on. I discovered this back in 2019, and that is Swiss Arabian's Casablanca. This was really popular on Fragrantica and other websites, and this was my first attempt at exploring Middle Eastern fragrances. And this is very mainstream, definitely. This right here is a caramel apple with a sweet oud base. It's so pretty. I love this. It lasts and lasts for hours. I don't know, it opens with a sweet apple note, and then there's praline and caramel, and then there's a sweet base of oud in the fragrance that keeps the fragrance going and going for hours. And that's Swiss Arabian's Casablanca. And I've gone through about three bottles of this ever since I discovered it. It's one that I don't get tired of. I love it, and I do get a lot of compliments on it. My very last one that I get a lot of compliments on is one that I'm still exploring and enjoying, and that is from the perfume house Happyland Studio, and this is Paisley Sky. This is just a bright, fresh patchouli fragrance, and it's a heavy hitter. This is a heavy dose of a long-lasting sweet patchouli, and it's not like stinky hippie patchouli, but a well-blended sweet patchouli. This I enjoy, and then also that Paisley Sky does come in a solid perfume format from Happyland, and I've put a hefty dent in that it is a solid perfume. The solid perfume is actually a higher concentration than the EDP. I think there's a 30% concentration of perfume in the solid perfume as opposed to the EDT. And I'll be honest, I'll wear these at the same time. I mean, I love them so much. And this is another fragrance that I layer with the Bath & Body Works Fairy Tale. That was all 10 of my most complimented fragrances, and I hope that that gives you some inspiration and gives you a little bit of time to go explore your own collection to see what, you know, what are your 10 most complimented fragrances. Thanks again. Bye.